And then chair one, you do realize that Charlie Kirk hangs out on Air Force One often, and his wife is former Miss Arizona.
Wow.
Do you want to respond to that? That's for you, Marin. Do you want to respond?
Pray for her.
Pray for her. Wait, why should we?
She's a gold digger.
Why do we got to pray for Charlie Kirk?
She's probably okay.
What do you mean she's probably okay?
She got the bags. That's what. If Arizona, there's some conservatives there. So if she's conservative, I bet she's having a wonderful time.
Tell us how you really feel.
I fear for any woman who gets close to Charlie Kirk because of his views, his political views, and his perceptions of what women are and how they should live their lives.
But so when you say you fear for those women,
Yeah.
fear of what? Like violence?
His opinion is so hurtful to so many women that, if you're a woman who believes in what he believes in,
I do.
I just fear for...
I'm sorry.
I just fear a little bit for you because
In what way, though? What are you fearful of?
The men who believe in Charlie Kirk's views are often more violent, more upsetting, more rigorous, and more conservative. And if you're a woman who believes in all of that, then you're probably fine.
So just to be clear, you're saying that...
However...
You're saying that men who believe in Charlie Kirk's views are more violent?
Yeah.
And is there how do you come to this conclusion?
Andrew Tate.
No, never heard of him.
Andrew Tate is very similar to Charlie Kirk.
Are they?
Yes. I think they'd be
How?
great friends.
How are they similar?
Political views, ideals, energies.
Misogynist.
So could
And
you-
misogynistic
Yeah,
ideals.
womanizer.
Well, okay, hold on.
And
a couple things. Yeah. Go ahead. Keep going.
I bet Charlie Kirk's wife believes in everything he says, and I hope she's doing really good. That's Miss Arizona. Arizona is a very interesting area.
Sure.
And I bet she's totally fine with it. However, I fear she never has to face anything that's violent or upsetting, and I just hope that she lives a great life.
Are you suggesting that Charlie Kirk's wife is at risk of violence at Charlie Kirk's hands?
Maybe not even his hands, but I bet he has a lot of friends who are dangerous and upsetting.
You're saying somebody in Charlie Kirk's circle
Yes.
has a high likelihood of assaulting Charlie Kirk's wife?
I'm not saying that per se, but
Sounds like what you're saying.
I would not feel comfortable in a room with Charlie Kirk and his friends.
Okay.
But I bet his wife does. I bet his wife's very comfortable where she is. So I hope I'm just saying I hope she's happy.
Sure. Would you feel more comfortable in a room with Destiny or some other liberal?
I don't know who that is.
You don't know who Destiny is?
No.
What about Harry Sisson or whatever?
Harry the TikToker?
Yeah, Harry Sisson,
Yeah.
Democrat?
Yeah.
Okay. Huh. Now, I'm a little confused, though. You said Charlie Kirk and Andrew Tate are similar.
I do feel they're similar.
Can you be more specific? In what ways are they similar?
Violence, even if it's not violence physically, political violence against women.
Just hating women.
Can you clarify what you mean by political violence?
I think they would share a lot of similar views about abortion and
Wait,
marriage.
can you move your microphone this way and just no, scoot it this way? Scoot it. No. This way. Here. Just
I'm following your thumbs.
But you're moving it too much. I'm just
Too
trying
much.
I'm just trying to get it aligned with
Right here?
No, this way.
This way more?
Can you try to be straight with the table?
She's too tall.
Okay, that's fine.
Like this?
Political violence how?
Andrew Tate and Charlie Kirk have both expressed, issues against women's rights.
Well, okay, we need to separate Andrew Tate and Charlie Kirk.
Yeah.
I think they have very different views. I would categorize Charlie Kirk.
Oh, Andrew Tate is worse.
So Andrew Tate and Charlie
by worse,
Kirk.
I mean Andrew Tate is more aggressive towards his hate towards women and his disrespect towards women, and Charlie Kirk tries to hide it behind Christianity. However, they both, I think, value women less than the normal man. And that's what I
What-
mean. That's
what
what I
has
mean.
led
They're
you-
similar.
Sure. What has led you to believe? So
Everything
I'm
they
gonna
say.
well, I'm gonna keep it to Charlie Kirk because
Okay.
it's easier for me to do it this way. What specifically has Charlie Kirk said that would lead you to believe that?
That he doesn't want women to get abortions.
But you said that something about like equal rights, or that,
That is
or no,
an
you said
equal
that
right.
he doesn't view women as equal or as having the same value as men.
Yeah.
Okay, how so?
Even just saying that women shouldn't be allowed to have an abortion is assuming that they have less rights than men. The
I
right
actually-
to their bodily autonomy, like their autonomy.
Well, I'm sure some of the people on the panel want to weigh in on that, but okay, so abortion. Don't you actually think, though, do you consider yourself a feminist?
No.
No?
No, I'd consider myself a misandrist.
So a feminist.
No.
Well, what's the difference between a feminist and a
A
misandrist?
feminist believes that everyone is equal. A misandrist believes that women are actually better than men.
How are they
So,
better than
hold
men?
on. So just to be clear, you are making accusations that, well, my understanding of misandry, that would be female supremacy, which I guess could fall under the categorization of misandry. But do you hate men?
No.
So misandry, what is misandry?
So misogyny is what's been going on for a really long time, where men are better than women. Men deserve more power than women. Men are smarter than women. Men are stronger than women, blah, blah, blah. Misandry believes, I think in a perfect world, women would be in charge of everything. And if you look at countries that are happier and better off, women are more in charge. And I'm not saying that men suck. Men are great. Men are needed. I'm not saying we should call men whatever. Like I don't support that whole message. However, if you look at countries that are doing better, women are in charge of a lot of the government. And I think women, because of the system that men have created, which is unfair, men are taught to be more masculine and strong and whatever. However, if we were all taught to be equal, I'd be a feminist. However, because women have been taught to be more empathetic, a lot of women are just better at handling political and social problems.
Okay, there's a lot there. Let's start with your claim that you're saying that there are countries where there is a predominance of female leadership and these
Yeah.
countries are better.
Yeah.
Okay, which countries are those?
A lot of the Scandinavian countries, like I think Copenhagen and like Scandinavian countries.
Copenhagen is the capital of Denmark.
Yeah.
It's not a country,
Well,
but
Denmark.
are you
think
talking?
Sweden-
I'm just talking
Talking about
New Zealand has a woman
Scandinavian,
president.
I think
Scandinavian areas are known to be the happiest places on earth.
And so you're saying those countries are not patriarchies?
A lot of them, yeah.
You're saying the Scandinavian countries are not patriarchies?
I'm not saying that exactly, but I know they have a lot more women in control than the U.S. does, which
And-
right now the U.S. is predominantly
Controlled by old men.
And you're
controlled by
sa-
old men.
Sure, and you're saying that these Scandinavian countries, strictly, there's no other factors that might contribute to them being, at least from your worldview, better countries.
Such as what?
I don't know, you're the one making the claim. How are they better countries?
Well, the women are in charge and they create rules that are more good for the people of the country rather than the rich people of the country. I'm not totally versed on this subject. However,
Sure.
based on what I've seen, the countries of the world that have more female leaders are doing, the people in those countries are happier and more well off than the women or just the people in like the US right now, for example.
How so?
They get health care. They
Oh,
get
free healthcare.
free health care, free just care in general. Women get better maternity leave. Women get, everyone is saying that they're happier in those countries. Like, I'm pretty sure Denmark or somewhere just got voted like happiest place on earth for 2025. And it's a place run by women.
And you're saying, like, for example, if we look at Norway, I believe is a country of, 4 or 5 million? Something around that. You're saying because there's more female leadership in some of these Scandinavian countries that because simply by virtue of that, that's why these countries enjoy like more prosperity or are better.
Yeah.
Okay. You
I
don't
do
think,
believe
like,
that.
for example, with Norway, it might have to do with their, like, abundance of natural resources, and they're
But you don't
basically...
think that's because the women who rule that country and who help that country have protected those? Donald Trump has taken away so many of our natural resources already, and people are already unhappy about that.
Well, I can't speak specifically as... Well, my understanding is this, as it relates to Norway's natural resources, the sort of prosperity that has granted its citizenry has been in place for many, many decades.
Very good for
I'm
that.
assuming prior to even the increasing representation of women in its government body.
Okay.
So I'm not sure that has the prosperity of Norway, for example, has anything to do with like current day, perhaps increased representation of women in government.
However, if you look at the countries that have had increases in women governments and you look at the ones who have had decrease and who have had predominantly men, you can see a vast difference in the amount of environmental protectionism acts and other things that have to do with women's health, child health, anything to do with like the goodness of the people. I think, and although again, I'm not saying that men are a problem, because I know lots of great men. It's just when countries rely on only men for power, I think that's dangerous. And in a world where feminism is seen as a bad thing because feminism means only women, I'm going to stick up for only women, because a lot
Sure.
of men who claim to be feminists, or women who even claim to be feminists, still side with like the way things are right now, because things are better now than they were in like the 60s.